and welcome to another Media Watch. This one hemi initiative lo Media Association of Solomon Islands, MASI. And Media Watch hemi one for program where hemi bring him together. Kata journalists and also kata senior people we work inside the media industry and also kata board members lo MASI as well as kata members lo committee where hemi come under lo MASI. Inside lo this fala edition lo yumi today, yumi happy for garamo kata we representing of the sports journalist lo yumi o kata na babay story we team yumi lo this fala edition lo Media Watch. And on my right we have Philip Lilomo, wahemi chairperson blo Sports Journalists Association of Solomon Islands, and of course vice plehemna lo here Elizabeth Osifelo, and me, the moderator and host blo Media Watch, Gina Kekea. Welcome you fala lo this fala edition blo yumi for this fala week. Now, Media Watch, suppose you watch him and follow this fala program, but you notice him that hemi come once a fortnight this fall time, but you look him repeat, but by hemi come back lo nara weekend and all same. So me fala come once a fortnight for doing Media Watch. So me fala hope, but if I'll start with him, me fala as me go through with him, okata progress, okata sports journalist lo yumi, where all time okata save before, okata save miss out all the some fala lokata things or activities where MASI have been carried out. But Philip and Elizabeth, welcome to the show today. Yumi save that Sports Journalists Association hemi one fala product where hemi born come out from MASI, and now yumi garem you to fala awesome chairperson and vice it fala lo here with him yumi since the establishment of Solomon Islands Sports Journalists Association. How na you fala looking this fala group hemi help him the sports journalist play you me. Baba, me start with him, you Philip, if you can respond, and then of course Elizabeth, you can also have your comments inside. Thank you, Philip.
Right, thank you, Gina. I think for highlighting naman since establishment law association law around April of this year, we follow hosting na first training we follow last month lo May. And training siya ang pat law objectives law association na for hosting mo kata capacity building trainings and workshop for the members we follow, the sports journalists. So first one we follow hosting lo May and made possible with them support from PACMAS and regional media scheme where supporting media associations around the region. So from workshop here we follow karem na 15 follow participants. 15 fellow participants and including 4 fellow current working journalists, sports journalists in the country from Alanson, Solomon Star and SIBC, and we follow also garem some fellow aspiring sports journalists, the young ones who come joining we follow. And I'm good too for looking at 6 fellow female participants na come to workshop. So since association we follow established, we follow man is for attracting to not a female sports journalist for come joining me follow something I'm a little bit rare too or country believe me you know look at many female journalists believe me and take them up not just sports beat yeah. So yeah, I think I'm no one for impact law association so far. Me follow not only manage for gathering but together a group of like-minded sports journalists, but me follow attracting two females for come out from my comfort zone for nara beat law journalism and take them up sports journalism. So I think I'm not a little bit update since establishment below association. We follow still continue for work with them Oceania National Olympic Committee for come up with them the work plans we follow, and okata too by continue for supporting me follow capacity building for the members we follow. I think I'm not a little bit update if Lisa by so add on more of that one.
Thank you. And for you, Elizabeth, any comments you'd like to make, especially since progress below the Journalists Association?
Okay, thank you, Gina and Media Watch for having us on the program. I think comments since the establishment of Solomon Islands Sports Journalists Association, hemna one for lokata highlights one for a step where me for take hemna. Finally, that as you may sabe, okata sports journalists most times in planet time okata na sabe miss out a lot of trainings. Maybe some for okata they've never been in one of these workshops or trainings for probably 10 years or probably go kasim that fala a long time little bit. So that was a very a good start for gathering 15 sports journalists and also aspiring sports journalists, and also too for try to encourage him to females and women reporters and journalists for kata save also take him up to this fella round. So it was a success, and hopefully too that Mifala be able to carry more follow-ups in the probably months or years to come. Yeah.
And Philip, as someone where you work outside of the mainstream media and you in the PR, but looking back, like if you get a copy of the paper, for example, do you see any difference time you go back section with Sports Semlohem compared to before?
I think since workshop here, we follow hosting, but you look in if you follow what sport news, not sport pages, but you notice a big difference here. In terms of a variety of coverage, a lot of sports where we look at papers blue despite the fact that the National Soccer League blue start again and round 3 no more last weekend. Yeah, usually looking now and then or daily that other sports start for creeping coming to a lot of pages, and not only soccer all the way, but basketball, rugby, and now since remote school games come up here, by looking that athletics, hockey, or other smaller sports here, start for get them space a lot of newspapers believe me. And I think too one follow content law workshop where we follow host him law last month here. We follow all session lot unfamiliar sports here. Sports where I'm not getting too much coverage in local media, not only because journalists no go cover about sports here, but because too understanding block at the law of sports here. You know, understanding good how sports are played, the rules. So for reporting a little bit complicated too. So during workshop we follow invite him come no kata unfamiliar sports here, one follow kata golf. So by we look at no, but for him report him or understand him that follow sport him hard too. So him no one me follow doing the workshop, me follow invite him come na every unfamiliar sport here and come present for reporters. So that one in a way help too for giving a variety of coverage. And for adding more or one Lisa Talem, side training for sports journalists. Most look at sports journalists believe me out no garing informal training before coming on beat here, lanim trade on the job no ma. So we follow o come sports journalists before no garing meaning kind of training kind specific training for sports reporting 2-3 years me follow wakam me this lanim trade on the job no ma. So tahu this time or fortunate for garing na association where I'm doing this that one for kita. So all 15 followers can participate. We follow variety inside too. Not only print journalists, we follow broadcast journalists or radio announcers. We follow even camera people too. We are used for shooting of sports competitions and games. We will outcome joining too. Workshop we follow. So yeah.
Thank you, Philip. And for the content, Elizabeth, Hannah, you follow come up with him content workshop. And we talk about with regards where workshop we hold him last month. Coming up with the content and how do you put that together and think for get them now at unfamiliar sports inside that follow workshop, because if you know Save, Elizabeth and Philip to follow lead trainers and facilitators that follow sports workshop as well. So the content and any everything also. I got to come up with him. So if you can share with us how you come up with the content and why you think those are the needed areas for the sports journalists.
Okay, I think regarding the content of the workshop, meet Fala Philip, we had a discussion and then we decided for me Fala call him to some Fala law in Salo Sports Journalism Executive for to have bouncing ideas around and for kata look him too because of kata lo mainstream when some fala lo kata gaps and loopholes lo some fala areas lo kata so okata to come up with them na some fala needs blo kata and one na some fala kata areas blo kata need him some fala refresher lo him and kind of them. So we had a consultation with some of the sports reporters, and we felt come up with them the training or the different areas where him one for priority. So we did first session we did a sort of a refresher on journalism ethics. As me tell them too that okata sports journalists, yeah, the ones where not really go through a lot of these trainings where some for others, lot different rounds, lots of go with them. So we feel that it was appropriate for Garam that one, journalism ethics. And then also one of the big part of it now was unfamiliar sports. And not only that okata savvy about him that for a game, but also with them not 2023 Pacific Games that Imiran waka strong towards. Him important that not only okata savvy about him the different sports and some follow the unfamiliar sports, but also to for building relationship with him with federations. Okata understand him the go-to people for go where okata got many questions or so we identified okata sports where he made a little bit no got an idea about him, the technical aspects, the rules, everything around him game. So not only knowing about the sports, but also him timely to that, or the sports journalist, or build him that relationship with him or different federations. So that one we follow factor in, and that one now say one for a big part law training. So that was the start of building networks and kind of say for strong him now or say this for a network. The sports round.
And Philip, as someone were you sports journalist before, how were you able to, find or even establish relationships with federations or even other people where running over the sports law country blue you mean? Like how do you follow with doing for this one? For instance, you have a workshop where the different representatives of what come and present and also to try to connect with the journalist. But in your time where you stored come that there was no workshop of this sort for sports journalists, how now you feel able for doing or connect with the other people or federations or those who look after motor sports bodies?
Yeah, thank you, Gina. I think me follow time was a journalist before and me time before several long time 10 years or something some ago. I think mainly through coverage naman go attending mo competitions blo kata conducted interviews with them kata and hem naman some relationships start there but rule basic rule in journalism no really close to much to lot of subject so work relations and start waka during the events you cover more sports events sports industry blue hem small one too so when you cover more tournaments and not events, very easy too much for you become acquainted with them with the people of federations. And over the years, no much changes too. Lot of people who established federations, same man no so.
Well, thank you so much. And you're watching Media Watch. Media Watch may one for the initiative, the Media Association of Solomon Islands. And you may hear him come Philip Lilomo with him Elizabeth Osifelo, what to follow represent him Solomon Islands Sports Journalists Association, where he one for the body, where he also come under law MASI. And MASI, he one for the organization where he established for help him media organizations play in the country. And mainly what MASI stand for the professionalism law journalists and media law country. So some fella might ask, why na MASI hole mota workshop osem hem for what and then can osem mainly hem for building capacity block journalists or participants make save able for understanding issues better save able for connect with the people where need for speak with him suppose need for get them for news blog and things osem so MASI hemi lo here for members blehem where hem na people where wakalo media and media organization. So basically that's what MASI hemi stand for. Okay, coming back to the sports journalists, you must have that the high school competition hemi one for a big event for the students play you me plan to look forward for him and the role where you follow playing baba you follow part and parcel of this follow games. I'll start with you, Philip, first.
All right. Yeah, Osimi Save, National Secondary School Games, by start June 28th. And we got a local organizing committee where I'm managing my organization launch for the games. And our task force where we look after communications and media, which Lisa I'm part of. I'm representing my association with committee. So also follow-up workshop where we follow hosting last month. We follow come up with an idea that we follow work together now with my organizing committee for deal with them na media coverage law games. So part law objective law association too, or not only for running capacity building trainings for the journalists, but also for liaise with them stakeholders and other organization for giving advice in terms of coverage law type major sporting events. So other journalists law mi follow law association na mi follow identify but mi follow providing support for coverage law game. And for the first time you looking na ajala collaborative effort and mi follow doing no competition between other journalists there. We will work together for sharing information, we will do coverage, trainings, and we will sharing information, sharing photos, sharing more information from the interviews we will conduct him and him know about competition or who someone star or island sana out him story, island sana garam story or something the same. But them about na getting the message out there, for example, audience for someone star or no ready island san, audience for island san or someone star. So remove something we will look him now that message him go out lo every platform as garing.
And for you, Elizabeth, being in part of a committee or same, how na him like?
Yes, me na representative law journalists association in sa law sort of task force, which me very happy to mastu for looking this for collaborative effort and teamwork from Mogata sports journalists play me country. I think to one fala thing to was mi fala nostakaya. So after establishing the association, we look into that mi fala waka together. And also this one I'm really evident and I'm show out because there's a collaborative effort of mi fala everyone. Mi fala try for. We've been part of the preparations, probably also behind the scenes for this for the National Secondary School games, yeah. Probably how many weeks ago, Philip?
2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks, yeah. So basically 2 or 3 weeks, we follow very heavily active way them na social media platforms and also mainstream. We follow try for pump every resources where we follow garem, where we follow save able for capture them. And also for building this fala hype. Yeah, so we follow work closely with them now, the overall organizing committee, the big committee, this fala games. And then during the games, but you look into that we follow everyone work together. So it's good to see this fala work together yeah, we follow for a common goal, although okata waka for different newspapers, but then still we managed to go the extra and then we pull together too for one and we try for support team too, which is the National Secondary School Games. So during the games, before the games and during the games, but we really try for work strong for support team this program. Yeah.
And it's also part of preparations for 2023 too. Jala we emphasize more collaborative effort yeah. So one name looking before lo among skata journalist limit cover event or go representative on organizations lo katana. I mean school games not at a bigger scale as in Pacific Games, but we will need to start somewhere and for try out na we will go about the maduma kind collaborative effort and for doing collaborative coverage lo of the games will happen next week.
We're trying
how many games How many sports? How many sports for the high school?
Total 13 sports.
13 sports and how many sports journalists? 4? 4 from the mainstreams.
This for school games, by me garim 1, 2, 3, 5 follow sports journalists.
5 sports journalists for 13 sports.
Yeah.
So him come back more collaborative effort we emphasize him.
And 5 from different media organizations, not 5 from one newsroom.
No.
5 from 5 different organizations.
So we're trying best to me as much as possible for me to run some operation law 2023. Now we try for organizing, me for celebrate and strategize. So there's 5 journalists no mind is 13 sports. So how me for doing good coverage law. That one, and also try to utilize into all the media platforms that we have available there. So that's on print, that's on television, and on social media. Yeah.
And organizing
Radio.
committee, but
Yeah.
I'm very supportive too.
Yes.
Lo maka Mifala
Yeah.
during the games, baka ta provide mo la media booth for Mifala lo central lo town. Lo niya Point Cruz, where I'm busy for the journalist ko film stories baka ta rather than ko bike lo office baka ta so almost headquarters lo Lunga. Kota po sa almost ba no need ko kasi lo Lunga for film stories blem. Lo ko organizing competitive games, I'm organizing media booth for Mifala lo Point Cruz mo lo office lo as sports council where pang value si mo sa may media booth for.
So media booth provided for you by the local organizing committee. I think if the big events or same if those organizers look at the events or same looking gap lo there, especially for media or wakaweti media, babay misa looking better coverage, look at the events, especially events of national interest na you may talk about.
So also to be like for talemo to how the organizing committee o kata waka good too with them the media group, and then they see the relevance and the importance of our work, so to accommodate me fala good and me fala try for waka together. So they really need to be commended too for recognizing the important role that the media plays not only during the games but before and after. Yeah.
Okay, we hear him stakal good something, especially about him what you have been achieving so far since little bit time where progress come from. But apart from that, the challenges which you have faced with him, and especially Elizabeth, you mentioned him code of ethics and kind of sem, and the use of social media. One fala area where I think journalists all time sometimes I get carried away. We have a code of conduct, code of ethics, and as all other bits or whatever you migarem, sports, the use of social media, or even how journalists put him out there for public, especially when they're covering stories. How nakata present him, even if it's on their own personal wall, but when they talk about sports, where kata cover mosem. Do you have something there where babay hemi sabe talem journalist that okay, you step out of line na, you sabe come back a little bit, or is there any room for that for you fellow sports journalist, Philip?
I think as media workers in general, you may sa finish na a lot guidelines or how we conduct a level on social media, especially on Facebook. Yeah, for the sport journalists, though, we follow. I think those same rules apply.
Yeah.
So they are not all but perfect at the moment. And something we follow work for reminding that sports journalists, you mean for be mindful to how to conduct them, especially low Facebook, even low personal pages because stakalo the journalist go falaya time mo kawan games as go mo se waka bloketa but ota passionate sport supporters and also too, so maybe by looking some follow up on gonna post but timo sem win which no according law ethics blame your journalist by must study you have to remain neutral, so something we follow wakalem for reminding what reporters law we follow law association that how you be conducting your level of social media, especially Facebook, and important too for reputation blame and credibility blame as a journalist.
Yeah, and I think for background details, no matter because I've not only me celeb, but everyone, look him some fala posts, some fala comments where me been made not only by sports journalists, but journalists in general, lo Facebook or social media, look at the stories where at cover, and then some fala comments been made, and then look at respond, look at the comments through Facebook, and then look at the torme mo tok lo on personal wall blocketa, but still relate lo waka blocketa. So for us, especially MASI tu you migaram code of ethics, code of conduct, that one barava one for a big no na time journalist do waka blehem, and then no get him good or people criticize him or people look at the talk spoil him, and then go lo Facebook, and then talk spoil him na this person, or even puti mo ta langus where no straight or usi mo ta swear langus or things so same lo code of ethics conduct lo media hemi barava wrong na. So if you look him that happen lo Facebook, any journalist do him that one happen hem go against him one hem MASI hem stand for, and also Sports Journalist Association. Mi fala no encourage him okata journalist for kata go online and okata swear and put him okata language we hem no straight talk out against him. Some fala people who kata disagree lo how or kata take him photo or how kata do him interview or write him story. That one embahara wa tabu na ya. But those are the things where imi babay wakalo hem for straight him, especially for this fala industry mi like him for him come up good and media watch or semi save talam come all away and one fala program where not only me talk about him what the highlights where media him doing, but also for remind him about the journalists and media people too lo role and responsibility where you me garem inside of this fala industry. And on a final note, Noma, any last comments you'd like to make, Philip and Elizabeth? Philip first.
Finally, no more. Before me was a program, is like thank you again more sports journalists in the country, despite the ongoing challenges. You may continue for work together with the motor sporting organizations and federations in the country for playing part me for child development of sports in the country.
Elizabeth?
Okay, we just like for bring him up again and comment Noma about him, the preference that we have, especially inside of sports. Obviously, you as a human being, you got a favorite team, yeah, awesome, yeah? But when you sign up for this job, you don't have that luxury anymore, awesome, yeah? So if you are a journalist or a sports journalist, and then that fala privilege, you give him away now, the day you sign up for this fala waka. Doesn't only apply for sports journalists, but then your opinion hem no matter. It's unprofessional, it's unethical, and that one hem go for everyone, for me everyone. Even if it's on your own personal wall, it's a no, awesome. Because him take him away na credibility blue you as a sports journalist and or as a journalist. And you one for a journalist, you represent him me everyone. So whatever Philip tell him, I'm painting picture of you. What you tell him, it paints a picture on me. It's our industry and it's our bread and butter, and we have to keep him that for standard. And we hope that all with sports journalists and all the media people inside of this industry, you may have learn for grown thick skin and you may keep pushing forward, yeah? Because in Wakaya, you brought for criticize, but we just hope that also too for Mifalota sports journalists and inside law association we need to be reminded of that now and again. So I think him no more me like for on that note me like for comment or same before me end the program. So him no more from me.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Philip. And I think on a good note before me finish, no more meeting in before time wakalo SIBC usually World Cup, yeah. And one fala event where osem must cover na because football, soccer, and that all time you saw a boss na but pasia. So every time garem World Cup updates him on, paso bam ask na okay what na theme blue you me, what na theme blue you me. Theme as if what na by me use him for slogan blue you me for doing program.
Yeah.
But then obviously everyone got a favorite team too, yeah. But bahat for tale me one favorite team and but you saw na team blue. If you have a good low bat pasya,
you'll know. Yeah.
You have na what na team blehem. But anyways, so go me for thing around him and say okay. Pa you me say no ma team ble me win finish.
Yeah.
Any team em win team ble you me na team ble you me. So any team em win team ble you me na. So anyways, thank you so much for coming on to the show today. Me hope the viewers if a little bit understanding when sports ble you me hemi come from, especially the association with him establishment ble hem. You me looking that hemi progress. Small time hemi come in, but already you have noticed him that progress hemi been made. Hemi must acknowledge him the establishment of this fella association where hemi help him now for come up reporting, especially block at the sports journalist play me, lo how kata cover or kata sports stories play me. But until next time, we're bami fala kamwa for sit down with team media watch. Once again, just to end, Philip Lilomo. Hem chairman blo Sports Journalist Association and Elizabeth Osifelo hemi vice blehem and me of course moderator and host blo yumilo Media Watch Gina Kekia. Thank you fala for stop with me fala.